Hey everyone, and welcome to another Explainer. I am so thrilled you're joining me today. Go ahead, pull up a chair, grab your notebook, and let's get cozy. Today, we're going on a bit of a journey to transform what are traditionally seen as, well, kind of dry software engineering terms into a beautiful, universal mental model that you can use for almost anything. We're going to look right past the code to uncover the hidden architecture of how we learn, how we build, and ultimately, how we grow. So, picture this. You've just decided you want to learn how to play the piano. It's an incredibly complex instrument, right? But ask yourself, would you start off this journey by trying to memorize 1,000 songs all at once? Well, probably not. It just wouldn't make any sense to tackle a massive, complex system in its entirety on day one. You'd be completely overwhelmed before you even played your first chord. Instead, you start with the absolute fundamentals. You first learn how to sit correctly, then exactly where to place your hands. You figure out how the keyboard is organized and how to just properly press a single key. Only after that foundational structure exists would you actually begin practicing music. And even then, you'd play just one piece. You'd listen, you'd adjust, and you'd play it again. See, you're establishing a structure first and then practicing iteratively to listen and adjust. And without even realizing it, when you learn the piano that way, you are already using a really powerful engineering pattern. Most people learn concepts like risk management, fast feedback loops, or systems thinking individually. But experienced engineers, they know better. Because whether we are learning music, mastering a new language, or building complex tech, the terminology might change, but the underlying pattern remains exactly the same. Section 1. The pattern behind learning. Section 2. Structure. The walking skeleton. All right, I want you to picture planting a tree. Before a tree can grow sprawling branches or, actually bear fruit, it needs a seed, and it really needs to establish its essential roots deep in the soil. It needs a stable foundation. Well, a walking skeleton is the minimum complete system required before meaningful learning can begin. Notice that word, complete. It doesn't mean finished or perfect. It means you just have enough of a foundation or root system, to use our tree metaphor, to actually experience reality end to end. Before you can learn through experience, you absolutely must build a structure that connects end to end. Now, the specific structure changes, right? An AI app obviously has a different root system than a mobile app, but the principle, that never changes. Section 3. Feedback, tracer bullet development. So if the walking skeleton is planting those initial roots, tracer bullet development is the continuous loop of watering, observing, and caring for those growing branches. It's how we make sure the tree is actually growing toward the sunlight and thriving in reality. Tracer bullet development is fundamentally a learning strategy. It means using workflows as actual experiments to continuously replace our assumptions with hard evidence. Once that structure exists, this mindset just shifts our entire approach. We stop asking, okay, what feature should we build next? And we start asking, what should reality teach us next? What uncertainty should we reduce? Every single experiment produces evidence, and that evidence directly changes your future decisions. Development literally becomes an act of continuous learning. Section 4. The Universal System Formula. Okay, here is the absolute core of systems thinking. It teaches us that a system is way more than just a pile of isolated parts. What truly matters is how those parts interact with each other and with their environment. The walking skeleton establishes the system, but tracer bullet development validates the interactions. Think about it. Without structure, there are no meaningful interactions. And without interactions, the structure never actually proves itself. And that leads us to this crucial equation right here. Structure plus feedback equals better systems. I really want you to use this as a cognitive anchor going forward. The structure gives you the capability to act, and the fast feedback loops of your tracer bullets give you the intelligence to adapt. Instead of waiting months to see if a massive assumption was correct, you shorten the distance between assumption and evidence. You build a minimal structure, you test it, and you get better immediately. This perfectly highlights the difference in mindsets. Traditional planning is always asking, what should we build next? It relies on massive feature lists and heavy upfront investment based mostly on guesses. But engineering thinking asks a much better question. What is the biggest remaining risk? The walking skeleton reduces your structural risk, and tracer bullet development repeatedly reduces your directional risk. Risk actually becomes your roadmap. Evidence is what earns additional investment of your time, your money, and your energy. Section 5. Applying the pattern everywhere. Because honestly, this elegant little formula, establishing a minimal structure and then running real-world experiments right through it, it applies to literally everything. Business, your career, how you learn, anything. Let's look at a business example.
A business walking skeleton isn't every feature under the sun. Not at all. It's a minimal product, a way to deliver it, a way to take payment, and a way to provide customer support. That is the minimum complete system. And once that exists, your tracer bullet is just guiding one single real customer through that complete journey. You observe exactly where they get confused, you adjust, and you repeat. You only scale your business after reality has taught you what actually works.
And what about your career? I see so many people trying to learn like 5 different technologies all at the exact same time. Stop doing that. Instead, build one complete career system. Your walking skeleton is your learning method, a space for projects, your GitHub, your resume, and an application pipeline. Once that structure is set up, your tracer bullet is building one real project and pushing it through that entire system. You observe where reality exposes your weaknesses, and then you let that evidence dictate your next learning goal. No more guesswork, for sure. Actually, it even applies to the very explainer you're watching right now. Our walking skeleton was just creating the basic production workflow, basically making sure we could actually produce and upload a file. Then our tracer bullet was publishing one topic. We measured reality, click-through rates, retention, comments, and we let reality determine our next improvement rather than our assumptions. The production workflow is the skeleton, the published explainer is the experiment. Section 6, Reality as Your Teacher. So, we've seen how this organic metaphor of growth and continuous care really applies everywhere. The pattern is all about creating a structure that is capable of learning and then continuously replacing your assumptions with hard evidence. It's kind of like teaching a child to ride a bike. First, well, the bicycle has to exist. That's the walking skeleton. It's the mechanical structure. Then the child gets on and rides, they fall, they adjust their balance, and they try riding again. That is tracer bullet development. The bicycle provides the structure, but the experience provides the learning. True growth comes from the dynamic interaction between the two. If you take away just one single thing from this entire explainer today, I want it to be this powerful engineering takeaway. Don't optimize guesses. Build a system that can learn. Then let reality become your teacher. You really don't need to know everything up front. You just need to build enough structure to learn from reality, and then have the humility to let reality decide what you should build or learn next. So, as we close our notebooks on today's study session, I want to leave you with this exact decision framework to chew on. Whenever you're beginning something totally new, a project, a career pivot, a business, just ask yourself these 2 questions. First, do I have the smallest complete system that can learn from reality? And if you do, ask, what experiment should reality answer next? Use this formula, completely embrace the feedback loop, and go build something amazing. Thank you so much for learning with me today.